Get a call from Moscow. They think that Marcus Allen is a new secret weapon, and they insist that we dismantle it.
And Marcus over the middle, first down run, 20, 6, 8, 15, 10, 5, touchdown!
The number 9 Heisman winner in the NFL, Marcus Allen.
Marcus was an unrestricted free agent in 1993, and he was looking for a team. He also was watching what we were doing, and I kind of knew that when I traded for Joe and we got him, that this really made an impact on Marcus. He called me, he said, I will tell you 2 reasons that I want to come and play for the Chiefs. He said, number 1 is I get to play against the Raiders and Al Davis twice a year, which I knew. And he said, the other thing is, I've always wanted to play with Joe Montana, and you just made a great trade.
Allen veers wide to the left at the 25, getting a block there from Hawkins at the 20, the 15, the 10. Touchdown Raiders. The frosting is on.
Here's the thing that I remember most about Marcus Allen. Marcus didn't carry himself like a golden boy. In the old Raider running game, that tailback had to block. Most of those runners, they don't want to do dirty work. Marcus didn't hesitate. And I shouldn't have been surprised. I mean, he did it in college. Here's a guy who's going to the Hall of Fame, who's leading the league in rushing, who's, doing all these things. And by the way, we don't want you to be the running back anymore. We want you to be the fullback because Bo Jackson showed up, and Bo's explosive. And so what did Marcus do? He said, fine. But as a football player, Marcus Allen was head and shoulders above him. Marcus Allen could catch the ball. Marcus Allen could block. He could do everything. You don't know how he did it, but he got away from it. Like in the Super Bowl in that one run, there's no way that he can outrun that team. No way, but he did it. Marcus Allen is a pure football player. He could have played defense. He could have been a fullback. He was selfless. He was a complete player.
21, maybe the game's most important play. And Marcus over the middle, first down run, 20, 6, 8, 15, 10, 5, touchdown!
December 5th, 1981. Marcus Allen stood on that stage holding the Heisman Trophy, the greatest college running back anyone had ever seen. 2,342 yards in a single season. Numbers that sounded fictional. USC's golden boy, untouchable. 6 months later, the Oakland Raiders called his name with the 10th pick. Not first, not second, 10th. 9 teams passed on him. 9 front offices looked at perfection and said, no thanks. The Raiders didn't hesitate. What followed was 15 years of absolute dominance. Super Bowl champion, league MVP, 6 Pro Bowls, a Hall of Fame jacket that was never in question. But here's where it gets complicated. Al Davis, the man who drafted him, eventually froze him out, benched him in his prime, a relationship so toxic it became one of the NFL's ugliest front office wars. You'd think that drama would define his career. You'd think teammates would whisper, opponents would pile on, the narrative would be poisoned. But ask any player who lined up with him or against him, the answer comes fast. No hesitation, no politics, just pure unfiltered respect. This isn't about what happened in the owner's box. This is about what happened between the lines, what the men who actually played the game saw when Marcus Allen touched the football. Because while management was playing chess with careers, Marcus was doing something else entirely. He was rewriting what it meant to be a running back. Before we hear what the players had to say, hit that subscribe button. We're breaking down the legends the NFL wants you to remember and the ones they tried to forget. You don't want to miss what comes next. Most running backs hit the hole at full speed. Marcus waited, not because he was slow, not because he lacked explosiveness. He waited because while everyone else was reacting to what was happening now, he was already seeing what would happen next. That patience, it drove defensive coordinators insane. You can't time a blitz against a back who refuses to commit until the exact microsecond the lane opens. You can't fill gaps when the runner isn't where he's supposed to be yet. Eric Dickerson was a freight train. Bo Jackson was a missile. Walter Payton was relentless force. Marcus Allen was a surgeon. 12,243 rushing yards over 15 seasons. 123 rushing touchdowns. But here's the part that separated him from every other elite back of his era. 5,411 receiving yards. 587 catches. He wasn't just a running back who could catch. He was a legitimate weapon in the passing game, a mismatch nightmare for linebackers who couldn't cover and safeties who couldn't tackle. Tom Flores used to line him up in the slot, run him on wheel routes, treat him like a receiver who happened to wear a running back's number because he could do it all. The year he proved it wasn't a fluke. 1,759 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns on the ground, 67 catches for 555 more yards, and another 3 scores through the air. Over 2,300 total yards from scrimmage in a 16-game season. NFL Most Valuable Player, not Offensive Player of the Year, not some conditional Best at His Position award. MVP, the entire league. But the numbers don't capture what made him so lethal. Film study does. Watch him set up a cornerback in pass protection, then slip out into the flat at the exact moment the QB needs an outlet. Watch him take a pitch left, hesitate for half a heartbeat while the defensive end overruns the play, then cut back against the grain for 15 yards. Every carry was a chess match. Every route was calculated. He didn't just run through defenses. He solved them. And the scary part? He was about to get even better when the lights were brightest.
Giving to Allen, sending him wide left. He has to reverse his field, but he gets away for a moment. Comes back up the middle of 30, 25, 40. Breaks past 2 men at the 50, down to the 40. Picking up a blocker to the 20, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown Raiders!
There's no question that Marcus brought another element to the rivalry. Al Davis basically benched him for 4 years. Well, all he really did was extend Marcus's career for 4 more years. I saw his face after a couple of those games, and I think he enjoyed those games as much as any he played in his whole life. The players for Oakland respected Marcus. He was one of them, but I think Marcus basically played all those games looking at a guy trying to tackle him and seeing Al Davis's face.
I'm sure you could write a good melodrama about how that happened, but the simplistic view from Kansas City was Bo Jackson, who was helping the Royals, decided that baseball wasn't enough. And then of all the damn places to play football, he's going to play for the Raiders. And suddenly Marcus Allen, this future Hall of Famer, is on the outs. Where better to go if you want to get back at Al Davis than go to Kansas City?
Right. Marcus Allen on first down, gets around the corner, gets 5.
Try defending someone who won't tell you what he's about to do. That was the Marcus Allen problem. Stack the box, he'd slip into the flat and catch 6 passes for 80 yards. Play coverage, he'd gash you for 150 on the ground. Commit to stopping the run and the pass. Good luck with that. Defensive coordinators would spend all week preparing. Film sessions until 2 a.m. A custom packages designed specifically for him. Spy assignments, gap integrity drills. Then Sunday would come and none of it mattered. 4.1 yards per carry for his career. Doesn't sound earth-shattering until you realize he did that over 3,022 attempts. 15 years of defensive lines knowing exactly who was getting the ball and still couldn't stop it consistently. The Broncos built their entire 80s defense around controlling the run, the Orange Crush. Legendary. Marcus averaged 4.6 yards per carry against them. Seattle's ground and pound defense in the AFC West, same story. 4.4 yards per attempt. And that's not counting what he did catching the ball out of the backfield against their linebackers. But here's where it gets really twisted. When Marcus left Oakland for Kansas City in 1993, he didn't just join another team. He joined the rivalry, team the Raiders had battled with for decades. And suddenly, the guy Al Davis had benched and buried was torching the silver and black twice a year. Chiefs versus Raiders, Arrowhead Stadium. Marcus wasn't even supposed to be a starter anymore. 33 years old, washed, according to half the league. He ran for 132 yards and embarrassed his former team. The next year, 96 yards and 2 touchdowns against Oakland. Revenge doesn't even cover it. This was a masterclass in proving everyone wrong while the cameras were rolling. Defensive players from that era will tell you the same thing. You didn't stop Marcus Allen. You just hoped to survive the day without him taking over completely. Containment wasn't a strategy. It was damage control.
To the right, he plunks it back to throw. Outside Allen, he's got a blocker in front of him. Marcus Allen has a Raider first down.
You know, Marcus found a kindred spirit in Marty about the depths of dislike for the Raider organization, how important Raider Week was. Marcus really brought that, I think, to a forefront.
Most people knew that Marcus wasn't happy with what happened with him in the Raiders organization, but Marcus never really brought it up to us.
He didn't really want us to draw attention and play for him. But that changed when the game started. Marcus is an intense guy as it was. I never saw a guy get in more faces. He was all over him, talking more trash than anybody during those games, and he just wanted to crush Al Davis, and he wanted to crush the Raiders.
Marcus Allen was probably a guy that a lot of people in this organization really liked because he was sideways with Al Davis before he got out of Raider black and silver. They had the guy that Al Davis seemed to be the most angry with, so giving that guy a chance to go out and succeed and rub it in Al Davis's face, I think Marty and certainly Marcus Allen reveled in doing it.
That's one of the great things about one of the great rivalries in the NFL. Playing Al Davis was like a playoff game, and that's one of the things that makes a great rivalry. Pure hatred of another guy.
Marcus Allen is as good a receiver as any third receiver they could put in. We see him here on this play. He comes in motion, gets out here, they get the ball to Marcus.
There's a story Rod Woodson tells about watching film of Marcus Allen. He's not watching the ball carrier. He's watching Marcus's eyes before the snap. The way he scanned the defense, read the leverage, identified the weak side linebacker cheating inside, all in about 2 seconds. Woodson said it was like watching a quarterback process coverage, except this guy was about to get hit by 300-pound linemen and still had to execute. Most backs have one gear, forward. Hit the hole, make someone miss, get what you can. Marcus had a flow chart running in his head every single play. Is the end crashing? Bounce it. Is the safety biting on play action? Sell the fake harder. Is the linebacker flowing too fast to the sideline? Counter back inside. His teammates talked about it constantly. The film obsession, watching cut-ups until his eyes burn, studying defenses like he was prepping for the bar exam. Jim Plunkett once said blocking for Marcus was easy because he'd tell the line exactly where he was going based on how the defense aligned. Offensive linemen don't usually get that kind of heads up from a running back, but Marcus wasn't a usual running back. And when the speed started to fade, because Father Time is undefeated, he adjusted. Age 34. Most backs are retired or riding the bench by then. Marcus rushed for 709 yards and caught another 49 passes, not because he could still outrun anyone, because he knew where to be before defenders figured it out. Oh, and the blocking? People forget about that part. He could pass protect like a fullback, pick up blitzes, stone linebackers in the hole to spring other runners. A complete back doesn't even scratch the surface. This was a football savant who just happened to play running back. And when the moment came to prove all of it on the biggest stage in sports, he didn't just show up, he put on a clinic.
Went right up his shoulder pad.
Here's Marcus Allen, and he gets some room to the outside. Allen in Redskin territory, out of bounds at about the 45.
Marcus Allen, to me, was like, Magic Johnson or Michael Jordan, who would come alive at the perfect moment. To see him do that in probably the most spectacular fashion, changing directions and taking it to the house. I just jumped up because I knew the LA Raiders would win the Super Bowl.
Marcus Allen's got to be higher. I mean, you think Marcus Allen, USC tailback, everything he's accomplished. Move him up the list.
No guy before 1980 had ever rushed for 2,000 yards in a season in college. Marcus Allen rushed for 2,300. The Super Bowl run against the Redskins, a 74-yard touchdown. That's a lot like those YouTube clips where it looks like a 15-year-old is playing Pee Wee football against 10-year-olds.
Split left. Good, gets back to Allen. Gets away from Butts. Finally goes down in the grass.
January 22nd, 1984. Tampa Stadium, Marcus Allen versus the Washington Redskins, the defending champions, the Hogs' offensive line, and a defense that had suffocated opponents all season long. Washington was favored. Most people thought the Raiders had no business being there. Marcus had other plans. First quarter, relatively quiet, feeling out the defense, letting Washington think they had him figured out. Then the second half started. 5-yard run, 8-yard catch, 12-yard sweep, methodical, surgical. He wasn't trying to break one big play. He was bleeding them to death with precision. And then came the fourth quarter, third down. Raiders up by 6, but needing to put the game away. Washington's defense selling out to stop the run, because if there's one thing you don't do, it's let Marcus Allen beat you on the ground with the championship on the line. Handoff left. Hole collapses immediately. Most backs go down, cut their losses, live to see second down. Marcus cut back. One defender arm tackles thin air. Another lunges and whiffs. He's at the second level now in the open field, and the safety has the angle. Doesn't matter. Marcus hits another gear, one Washington didn't know he still had, and it's a foot race down the sideline. 74 yards, touchdown, ball game. The greatest run in Super Bowl history. There's an argument. The dagger that killed a defending champion's repeat hopes. Absolutely. 191 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, Super Bowl XVIII MVP. But it wasn't just the stats. It was how he did it. The patience, the vision, the way he made one of the NFL's best defenses look completely helpless when it mattered most. Joe Theismann said afterward that they knew Marcus was the key. They schemed for him all week, committed extra bodies, did everything right, and he still dropped 191 on them. That's not just talent. That's not just preparation. That's greatness under pressure when the entire world is watching and there's no tomorrow if you fail. Marcus Allen didn't just win Super Bowl XVIII, he owned it. And from that moment on, his name was carved into NFL immortality. Marcus Allen signs with the Kansas City Chiefs, 33 years old, coming off years of being buried on the depth chart in Oakland. Here's Al Davis had made it clear. Marcus's time was done. The entire league watched with skepticism. Nice career, sure. Hall of Fame resume, absolutely. But productive football at this age after being frozen out? Doubtful. Marcus showed up to Kansas City with something to prove and a very specific target in mind. The Oakland Raiders, twice a year. His first season in Chiefs red, 764 rushing yards. 12 touchdowns, 34 receptions for another 238 yards and 3 more scores. Not bad for a washed-up veteran, but the real statement came in those rivalry games. The ones where Al Davis had to watch from the owner's box as the back he'd discarded shredded his defense. Week 7, 1993, Arrowhead Stadium, Chiefs versus Raiders. Marcus rushed for 132 yards, dominated, made Oakland's front 7 look slow and unprepared, which, considering they'd spent years practicing against him, was borderline embarrassing. The Chiefs won. Marcus twisted the knife, another 96 yards and 2 touchdowns against his former team. By now, it wasn't even about the stats anymore. It was about the message. You were wrong about me. Think about what that takes. Most players would have crumbled under the Davis drama, taken the benching personally, let bitterness poison the end of their career. Marcus flipped the script entirely, went to a division rival and became a key piece of their offense at an age when most backs are doing pregame commentary, not pregame stretches. Kansas City fans loved him, his teammates rallied around him, and the rest of the AFC West had to deal with the fact that Marcus Allen still was a problem you couldn't solve. He didn't just reinvent himself in Kansas City, he proved that greatness doesn't have an expiration date when you've got the mind and the will to back it up. 2 franchises, 2 separate eras of dominance, 2 different jerseys retiring his legend. How many players earn respect once in a career? Marcus did it twice.
Marcus Allen. Raiders in the end zone.
Al was a guy that has always liked to collect players as if they're curios. If you went to a Raiders practice, everywhere you looked, there was a Heisman Trophy winner.
So the Raiders have themselves a Heisman Trophy winner, which certainly does not hurt you when you want to pump up your team and get people to realize that you've got a big man on your team. Maybe not the #1 running back, but he's got that trophy under his arm.
2nd and 6, and Plunkett fakes to him this time. Now Marcus just sort of lost himself in the middle. Plunkett got the ball to it.
Here's what's remarkable about the Al Davis situation. It would have been easy, justified even, for Marcus to let that bitterness seep into everything, to trash the organization publicly, to become a cautionary tale about how the NFL chews people up and spits them out. He never did. Stayed professional, showed up every day, practiced hard even when he knew he wasn't playing, mentored younger backs who were taking his reps. His teammates noticed. They always notice. The locker rooms have a way of sniffing out selfishness. The guys who put stats over team, the veterans who mail it in when things don't go their way. Marcus was never that guy. Even in Kansas City, when he could have been the savior with an ego, he became a mentor instead. Showed the young backs how to read defenses, taught them the nuances of pass protection, made everyone around him better just by being in the building. Off the field, same story. He didn't just write checks to charity. He built programs, showed up, put in the work. His foundation focused on youth education and health initiatives, causes that didn't generate headlines but changed actual lives. No cameras, no press conferences, just quiet, consistent impact. University of Southern California retires his number 33. A tribute to his college dominance, sure, but also an acknowledgement of how he represented the program long after he left. Notice who didn't retire his number? The Raiders, even after everything he did for that franchise. Super Bowl MVP, League MVP. a decade of dominance in silver and black. The relationship with Al Davis remained fractured. Marcus never got that Oakland ceremony, never got his jersey hanging in the stadium where he made history, and somehow he handled even that with grace. Because at the end of the day, Marcus Allen knew something the front offices and the politics could never touch. The players knew, his teammates knew, the men who actually suited up and went to war every Sunday, they knew what he was. And that's the validation that actually matters. You can't buy that, can't lobby for it, can't manufacture it with PR campaigns or stat padding. Yeah, you earn it by being the guy everyone wants in the huddle when the game is on the line, by showing up right even when you're being treated wrong, by letting your work speak louder than your grievances. Marcus Allen was that guy. The stats will live forever. The highlights will play on loop. The records will stand in the books. But the respect, the way grown men's voices change when they talk about him, that's the legacy, can't be taken away. August 2nd, 2003. Canton, Ohio. Marcus Allen walks onto that stage wearing the gold jacket. First ballot. No debate, no discussion necessary. The voters looked at the resume and the decision made itself. 12,243 rushing yards, 123 rushing touchdowns, 5,411 receiving yards, 587 receptions, 145 total touchdowns across 15 seasons. Numbers that still hold up 2 decades later. At the time of his retirement, he was one of only a handful of backs to eclipse 10,000 rushing yards and 5,000 receiving yards. A dual threat before the term became a buzzword. The modern NFL loves to talk about versatile backs and 3-down players like it's some revolutionary concept. Marcus did it in the 80s and 90s when defenses could actually hit you. But let's address the elephant in the room. The Al Davis drama, ugly exit from Oakland, the fact that his number still isn't retired by the franchise that drafted him. Does any of that change what he did on the field? Ask the players, ask the defenders who had to scheme for him, ask the teammates who blocked for him, ask the coaches who called his number when they absolutely needed a play. Not a single one brings up the politics. They talk about Super Bowl XVIII. They talk about the 1985 MVP season. They talk about patience and vision and football IQ that separated him from everyone else. The front office mess? That's footnote material. Drama for the tabloids. The football? That's eternal. Here's the truth that survives all the noise. Marcus Allen didn't just play running back. He redefined what the position could be. Showed an entire generation that you could be powerful and patient, explosive and cerebral, a workhorse and a receiving threat. Every modern back who lines up in the slot, every third down specialist who picks up blitzes and catches screens, every runner who waits behind the line for the perfect crease. They're running Marcus's blueprint, whether they know it or not. The Hall of Fame jacket was never in question. The stats demanded it. And the resume was airtight. But the real legacy, the one that matters, was built in film rooms and locker rooms and Sunday afternoons when the game was on the line and everyone knew who was getting the ball. Politics fade, drama gets forgotten, front office beefs become trivia questions. Greatness, that echoes forever, and when the final chapter is written on Marcus Allen, the verdict is already in. The players spoke. The film doesn't lie. He belongs exactly where he is, at the top.
Here's Marcus Allen. Cutting back upfield, and Marcus Allen could be gone.
He was a guy who you looked at him and you thought, oh man, it's going to be a bad day for us.
Marcus Allen was an incredible pro player. Incredible. So good near the goal line.
Marcus is a cool cat. He's a good looking dude. He's a charismatic guy. So that fits his personality. He's, no man, I'm not going in. I'm going over.
Marcus Allen's at number 9? How can he be at number 9?
Marcus Allen was an incredible college football player who had 2 or 3 very good NFL seasons, who had a signature Super Bowl highlight, and had many, many, many years.
Marcus Allen. Allen cuts back again. Marcus Allen to the 30. Finally out of bounds at the 19-yard.
Walk through any youth football league in the 90s. Number 32 everywhere. Kids who never saw him play. Didn't matter. They knew what that number meant. Patience, vision, clutch. Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Austin Eckler, every modern dual threat back catching 70 passes and still rushing for 1,000 yards. They're playing Marcus Allen football. He proved you didn't need to be 230 pounds of power to dominate. You needed intelligence, the ability to make defenders wrong no matter what they chose. That blueprint became the standard. 12,243 rushing yards, 145 total touchdowns. Super Bowl MVP, League MVP, Hall of Fame, first ballot. The numbers don't lie, but here's what really matters. Go watch those interviews. Players asked about the greatest backs they faced. Marcus Allen's name comes up every time. Not politics, not narrative. The men who played the game, remember, the Oakland Raiders never retired his number, cold fact. But they can't take away the respect of every player who faced him. The awe of defenders who game planned and still couldn't stop him. The trust of teammates who knew he'd deliver when it mattered. Al Davis tried to bury his legacy, benched him, pushed him out. Marcus went to Kansas City and proved greatness doesn't fade on command. The suits wrote their version of history. The players wrote a different one, the true one. Marcus Allen didn't just play running back. He redefined it, mastered it, left it better than he found it. The players never forgot, and neither should we. If you made it this far, you know greatness when you see it. Drop a comment with your favorite Marcus Allen moment and let us know which legend we should cover next. Subscribe so you don't miss it. The players have more stories to tell.